What's up, YouTube producers? It's your boy Broke Shady. We got another good one for you. In this video I'll be showing you guys how to make a Benny the Butcher type beat. Stay tuned to the end where I show you guys the beat finished. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Alright, so for this kind of beat you're definitely going to want to choose a darker sample. So I'll show you the sample I have picked out already. So I think I'd like to use that as like a little drone going on in the background while I have some slow drums over it. So I'm gonna stick with 80 BPM for right now. I might change that later. So I'm gonna try and warp this to fit. So I have it set in my version of Ableton where you drag in a sample and it does not warp it. So if I just drag in something like that from my folders over here, it's not gonna be warped. So I'm gonna come down here and click warp, and then complex for right now. Alright, so I found this drum break here that I really like, and I think it fits over this really nicely. So check this out here. Check it out. I'm really digging the feel of that, and I think it loops nicely. The only thing I want to change here is I think the samples could use a little bit of tweaking. So I'm going to take some other samples that I like and try and fit it with this drum break and this feel and groove. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so since this is being looped 4 times, I'm just going to delete these 3 so it doesn't get too confusing here. Nice and simple. So I'm going to take my other kick and place it where this kick is. So if you listen to my groove here, you can see very clearly the snares hitting 2 and 4, and then you got some kicks in there. So I'm going to throw this kick in with that. And I don't necessarily have to put this with every single kick that I see. It can just be the ones that I want to accent, and then the other ones will be kind of like a ghost note when you actually listen to this whole loop. But the point of using the drum break to develop your loop with the other samples is so that you don't lose that feel. So what I'm doing here is I see that the kick here is hitting a little late, so I wouldn't put my kick here right on the beat. I'm gonna drag it over here so it's with that one, and it keeps the same groove. And then to make this super easy on myself when I'm mixing, I'm gonna make sure that all my samples are on different tracks so that when I go in to make any edits I can do it to each one individually and I won't have to worry about that. And you can always group these together if you want to have some effects that are on both. Alright, so now that I got my loop figured out and my drums, my other samples thrown in there, I just duplicated that a couple more times out. So this is what we got. And that's vibing and that's kicking. So what I did there is on this loop, my drum break, since I'm already inserting a kick and a snare, I just took out a bunch of that low end because you don't really need it. I already got my kick in there and just kind of scooped a little bit there. And then the other thing I did here too is I went to my sample, put a compressor on that with a side chain right there to my kick, and that's thumping away with the side chain. So now what I want to do is make this a little more interesting, because you can clearly hear when you listen to it that it's just the same thing repeated 4 times. So I'm gonna try and change things up a little bit here, move some of these kick drums around so it sounds like a longer phrase. You already know what time it is. I gotta throw an 808 in there. Alright, for a slow beat like this, I don't want to go too crazy with my 808. I'm just gonna lay something down real fat and heavy. That's all it needs for that 808. That's all it needs. Now you're probably wondering, what should I do when this droning gets a little too annoying, when I'm sick of it? Just cut it. And bring it right back. Alright, check this out. I found this at the beginning of the sample. There's a little bit of Foley type stuff going on. I can use that. All we gotta do is grab that and turn it way up. That's some good stuff right there. Alright, I'm gonna show you guys a little secret. A little secret on how to build stuff up. So you have this point right here where you know for sure that you want it to drop. Like, you know this is the spot right here. That's it, I know for sure. So I'm gonna try and build everything up to one point. Not that point, but right before that, where I'm gonna have some kind of pause, or maybe one thing is gonna take up that little section and then it's gonna drop. So basically you're taking all of these elements, building them up, and up until you're ready for your climax, and you take it all away for 1 second. And that's gonna be right here where the snare hits. And it's gonna come back right in. So what I'm doing here, I have my sample, I have my drum break without my added drums, and then just my Foley noise. Now one more thing I want to add here is just a reverse cymbal. So you just go to your drum hits. This is in Ableton, the stock sounds. Where is it? Where is it? Cymbal. Probably gonna want a dry crash. Perfect. So I drag it in. I don't want it warped. Shouldn't it be warped? And then you click on it once and just press the letter R on your keyboard, and it reverses it for you. Quick hack. Alright, and then I want this to stop right when my snare comes in. So let's see how that sounds. Might have been a little bit loud, but you get the idea. Little trick for you guys here too. So I have this section here that I actually wanted 2 of, but I still want to keep this. So I just want to take all this stuff and move it over so I can add another section in here. So what you do is just highlight everything you need, and then it's Control-Shift-D. And it just throws in another chunk there and moves everything else over. So as I'm adding more sections in, I want to be going back to my sample and seeing what I can chop up more, how I can change things and keep things interesting as the beat is moving forward. You always want to check back in with your sample. One way to do that is to chop it up. Another way to do that is to take some effects and automate those. You can do all sorts of things. One thing you should make sure you do, if you haven't already, is take the time to make yourself a producer tag that you can throw onto your beats, so if it does go anywhere, that you know it's going to come back to you. Take mine for example. It's not even that good. I just took it from a text-to-speech thing on Google, so you can use anything.
Shady made it.
Alright, another thing I want to show you guys, I did this in my last video, but I do this a lot, and I want to show you different ways that you can do this. is you can automate these effects, and I like to do it a lot on the auto filter or just any kind of filter in general. Just moving around the filter is really fun and can be musical in itself. No tracks are armed, and then just set your filter where you want it to start and hit record. For me, I changed it, and you can actually do this yourself. Over here, when you click key, all of these buttons that you can click on the screen, you can actually map to a key on your keyboard. So as you can see, there's something going on with my video camera, so I'm gonna have to cut this video short, but thanks for tuning into the channel. Broke Shady out.